After 20 years apart, Billionaire discovers his school friend is a waitress. What happens next is mind-blowing. Mark Thompson stepped into the old diner, and the scent of fresh coffee and greasy fries hit him like a wave of nostalgia. The neon lights buzzed softly, illuminating the framed photographs on the walls, smiling faces filled with youthful dreams, echoing laughter from times long gone. It had been 2 decades since he had walked these familiar floors, yet nothing had truly changed. The corner booth where he and Sarah Wheeler had shared countless milkshakes seemed to beckon him, summoning memories of simpler days. But standing there now, the billionaire, with all his wealth and status, felt an ache in his chest and couldn't ignore it. As he scanned the room, a familiar face caught his attention. Sarah. Her warm smile was still contagious, but there was an undeniable heaviness in her eyes, a stark contrast to the glitzy old Mark. Once inseparable, they now stood worlds apart. Sarah was a waitress, serving coffee to regulars in worn-out booths, her apron stained from endless shifts. It was a long way from the dreams they had spun together as kids that he approached her cautiously, heart racing. Sarah. Surprise washed over her features, mixed with a hint of uncertainty. Mark. Is that you? He couldn't help but smile at the sound of her voice. They settled at the counter, catching up over coffee and pie. And as they spoke, Mark learned of the struggle Sarah faced her aging parents who relied on her and the relentless grind to make ends meet. Each word she spoke resonated deeply. It tugged at his heart, a stark contrast to his life of luxury. He realized that behind Sarah's smile was a story of sacrifice, of love, of resilience, the kind of tenacity that breathed life into the fabric of their small-town community. Before they parted ways, Mark impulsively invited her to the charity gala he was hosting, an event that he hoped would bridge the gap between their worlds. The thought excited him, but it also scared him. He caught himself dreaming about seeing her in a beautiful dress, the chance to reconnect with the girl who used to mean everything to him. But beneath that excitement, a gnawing feeling of dread crept in. What if their worlds were too different? Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me reach seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. The night of the gala arrived, a whirlwind of glamour and wealth. Mark felt the thrill of nostalgia and a wave of discomfort as he introduced Sarah to his world, now draped in diamonds and designer suits. But when someone made a derogatory comment about her, something snapped inside him. He stood, challenging the atmosphere that stigmatized Sarah, as she wilted under the weight of judgment that I in that moment, as he proclaimed her worth amidst the opulence, emotions flooded him, awe and turmoil. He felt a surge of feelings that buried long ago. Yet, the disbelief in Sarah's eyes cut deep. Would she ever believe he valued her? With the stakes higher than ever, unanswered questions hovered between them, the atmosphere crackling with a mix of hope and doubt. Could their bond survive the barriers built by time and social status? As Mark reached out for her hand, ready to bridge the gap, an unexpected incident disrupted everything, leaving them at a crossroads neither had anticipated. Mark felt his heart race as he held Sarah's gaze, the energy of the gala swirling around them. Just as their hands were about to touch, a loud crash echoed across the room. The sound of shattering glass seized their attention. A table nearby had toppled, sending crystal goblets clattering to the floor. Chatter turned into murmurs, the stares of guests shifted toward them, eyes wide with curiosity and judgment. Sarah recoiled slightly, her body language suddenly closed off. The moment that had felt so charged now hung in the air like a balloon on the verge of bursting. Mark could see the shadow of embarrassment across her features. Are you okay? He asked, his voice steady despite the chaos. She nodded but didn't tear in his eyes. The warmth that had sparkled between them was being smothered by the weight of the crowd's gaze. Mark wanted to break through that barrier, to reassure her, but the moment had shattered. just that he looked back at the crowd, scanning faces. Among the guests, a few smirked, their expressions laced with privilege. Mark felt a storm of anger brewing inside him. He wanted to protect Sarah from their judgment. He stepped closer to her, trying to close the distance left by that sudden disruption. "Let us get out of here," he urged, hoping to escape discreetly. But Sarah hesitated. "I can't just leave," she started, glancing around as if assessing the situation. "Sarah," he interrupted gently, "you deserve to be somewhere where you're appreciated. Not treated like an outsider." Her eyes softened then, and he saw a flicker of the girl he once knew. It looked like the slightest crack in her armor. Mark took a deep breath, taking his chance. "Let us go for a walk. Just you and me." Finally, she nodded, uncertainty lingering in her gaze, but a spark of hope danced in her eyes as well. Outside, the cool night air hit them, and the sounds of the gala faded behind them. The bright lights of the city twinkled in the distance, contrasting the darkness that felt so heavy moments before. They walked a few steps, side by side, the silence wrapping around them like a comforting blanket. "I never wanted you to see me like this," Sarah said finally, her voice barely above a whisper. "It's hard." Mark stopped, facing her. "You're so much more than what you do for a living. I never thought you'd be defined by your circumstances." "Easy for you to say," she replied, crossing her arms defensively. "You live in a different world." "Maybe." He stepped closer, earnestness flooding his voice. "But you're still the same amazing person I knew in school. You're strong, Sarah. So much stronger than others realize." She looked up, and in that moment, the vulnerability in her eyes struck him hard. What if we're just living in two different realities? Mark took her hands, feeling their warmth, and gave a soft squeeze. "What if we don't let those realities keep us apart?" Just then, a voice called out from the distance. It was Henry, Mark's business partner, already searching for him. Mark turned, heart sinking slightly at the interruption. Sarah's expression shifted, uncertainty creeping back like a shadow that made his Henry approach. His demeanor was bright, oblivious to the power struggle unfolding between Mark and Sarah. "There you are. We need you back in there, Mark." Mark hesitated, torn between the familiar certainty of the gala and the uncharted possibility of a play with Sarah. "Go ahead," Sarah said softly, pulling her hands away. I'll be fine." Mark's pulse quickened, frustration and fear battling within him. "Please, don't shut me out. We can still talk." But Sarah turned slightly, her eyes glossing over fighting back tears. "It's best this way." As he watched her retreat to the shadows, Mark felt that punch of loss. In that moment, he realized they stood at an edge, the precipice of something potentially beautiful but precarious. Could he bridge this growing distance between them before it was too late? As he turned to follow her, he spotted a figure out of the corner of his eye, one that could change everything. What he discovered next week? Test the very foundation of their past and the possibilities of their future. Mark hesitated, heart pounding as he faced the figure that had caught his attention. It was Jeffrey, an old acquaintance from business school, the last person he wanted to see right now. Jeffrey's eyes scanned the street before settling on Mark, a bright smile breaking across his face. "Mark, there you are. I didn't even know you were at the gala," he boomed, casually throwing an arm around him, which felt oddly intrusive. "Come on, let us grab a drink. Everyone is waiting." Mark tried to shake off Jeffrey's embrace, his thoughts still tangled up with Sarah. I was just heading. If you're not coming back, let us take a moment to enjoy this beautiful night," Jeffrey interrupted, oblivious to Mark's coming. "We have a whole Des Moines elite to impress inside." Mark clenched his jaw, glancing back toward the shadows where Sarah had just retreated. Her figure seemed to fade, and with it, his urge to return to the gala dissolved into the night air. "Actually, I was with someone," he said, trying to keep his voice steady. "Can you give me a second?" Jeffrey raised an eyebrow, his curiosity piqued. "Oh. A date? You do surprise me. He shot Mark a playful nudge, but Mark wasn't in the mood for banter. Just a friend. Mark's heart sank as he said it, the weight of the word filling him with regret. He turned back toward the corner where he had last seen Sarah, but she was gone. Come on, we've missed so many opportunities to connect back in school. Don't let a little chat slip away now. You're too successful for that, Jeffrey chuckled. Mark felt a prick of annoyance. You don't understand. She asked, but there was no time to correct him or to explain. Henry came trotting up behind Jeffrey, with a news look on his face. Are you two really talking about drinks when there's business to handle? Mark, we need to get back, just give me a minute. Mark snapped, surprising himself with the outburst. The urgency settled in him like a cold wave. He took a deep breath, searching for Sarah amidst the crowd that had spilled from the alley into the street. She could be anywhere by now, her silhouette consumed by the night. Seriously, Mark, what is going on? Henry asked, his voice low and steady, as if he was seeing something deeper than the surface gaze. It's complicated, Mark replied, shaking his head. You know what is not complicated? Jeffrey said, grinning. Success and recognition. I just closed this amazing deal, and all of you should celebrate it. That is when a strange feeling washed over Mark, a blend of anger and determination. He couldn't let this chance slip away. No, Jeffrey. I need to find her. With that declaration hanging in the cool night air, Mark took off down the sidewalk, his footsteps echoing against the pavement. His mind raced with the possible paths Sarah could have taken. Each minute felt like an eternity as he stripped away layers of doubt and fear, focusing solely on the hope that he could connect with her once more. As he rounded the corner into a dimly lit alley, he paused. A figure stood against the wall, glancing at her phone, seemingly lost in thought. It was Sarah. Sarah. He called out, heart surging in his chest. She turned, surprise filtering across her face, quickly melting into something more hard. What are you doing here? I need to find you, we need to talk. The tension crackled between them. Talk. About what? The past? She challenged, crossing her arms. No. About now. And where we go from here. Something shifted in her expression, uncertainty woven with hope, a delicate balance on the edge of resolve. Would she allow him to breach the chasm that had formed between them? How can we? We're from two different worlds, she pressed, her voice shaking slightly. Maybe we don't have to be defined by those worlds, Mark replied, stepping closer, searching her eyes for a sign of hope. But as the city lights flickered, the moon made in her face, he realized the stakes were higher than he had imagined. Would she take a leap of faith with him? Or was this where his paths would finally diverge for good? With a deep breath, Sarah asked, what are you willing to do to fight for this? The question hung in the air, leaving Mark to ponder the sacrifices he was ready to make. Would he risk everything to bridge their worlds? Could he face the truth of his own feelings without reservation? In that moment, the future of their rekindled connection balanced on a knife's edge, and a new challenge began to unfold. Mark took a step closer, each heartbeat echoing in his ears. Sarah was right. They were from different worlds, but the connection they shared felt too strong to ignore. He could feel a shift in himself, a determination blossoming like a flower breaking through concrete. I'm willing to fight for us, he said, his voice steady despite the whirlwind in his chest. I've fought for success in business, but I know that's not everything. I want something real. Something that lasts. The gaze softened for a moment, but then it hardened again. And what does that even look like? You're a million miles away from where I am, Mark. You live in a world of glitz and glamour. I'm just trying to get by. I don't care about the glitz, he replied, the words burning in his throat. I care about you. Just you. I've missed. He took a deep breath, his hands instinctively finding their way into his pockets. I've missed you. The person you are. Her expression was one of disbelief mixed with something deeper. You don't even know who I am anymore, she whispered, creeping into her voice. I know now, he said, moving even closer, gauging her reaction. You're still the girl who made me laugh during the tough times. The one who worked hard for everything she has. That hasn't changed, has it? That was years ago, she said, her tone resolute but tinged with longing. Things change. People change. I'm not the same girl you once knew. Maybe not, he admitted, an edge of desperation in his voice. But I've been changed too. The success, it hasn't brought me happiness. I feel empty sometimes. I want to reconnect, to really see where we can go from here. If you'll let me. As silence lingered between them, Mark's heart was a steady drumbeat, waiting for her next move. He realized then how foolishly optimistic he was. He couldn't tee back down now. Not after finding her again, not after remembering how much she meant to him, and then, out of nowhere, a car screeched to a halt at the end of the alley. Bright headlights washed over them, and a voice shouted, "Sarah, get in the car." Mark turned sharply, his focus breaking away from her just for a moment. Nothing good ever came from a sudden inflection, he thought with a flicker of dread in his stomach. Who is that? He demanded, his voice edged with protectiveness. My boss, she replied, glancing anxiously between him and the vehicle. Sometimes she needs me on call, and I Sarah, please. The driver yelled again, impatience seeping into her tone. We can talk more, when I'm not, she stammered, the words rushing out as she stepped back, torn. No. I need to know where you stand, he insisted, something deep inside him surging as he took a firm step forward. Don't walk away now. Her eyes glistened, reflecting the headlights like stars caught in a storm. It's not that simple, Mark. I can't abandon my responsibilities. But what about us? He pressed, desperation creating a crack in his voice. What if I want you here, right now? What if I want to figure this out together? She hesitated, the tension radiating between them palpable. The car's engine revved impatiently, the commotion tearing at the moment they had built. He could see the struggle in her eyes, a battle between duty and desire. Please, just give me a chance, he pleaded. If you walk away now, I don't think I'll ever forgive myself. As the silence enveloped them again, both of them felt the weight of the world on their shoulders. The question lingered, what kind of leap of faith could transform a moment into something meaningful? Mark, she hesitated, her voice barely above a whisper. Would this be the moment that defined a new beginning, or the end of a story that once had been? With trembling uncertainty, Mark held his breath, waiting for the answer that could change everything. Would she choose him, choose a fight for love? Her voice hung in the air between them, like the final note of a bittersweet song. Mark's pulse quickened, the anticipation biting at his insides. Sarah's eyes darted to the car, then back to him, caught in the balance of a decision that meant everything. Mark, she trailed off, fingers twisting at her sides, betraying her uncertainty. Just think about it, he said urgently, not daring to break the fragile moment. We can try. We can find a way to make it work. I know it'll be difficult, but you mean too much to me to just let this slip. The mixture of emotions swirling in her gaze told him all he needed to know. She had feelings, he could see that now, tempered with fear and practicality. He took a step even closer. Please, Sarah. Don't run away from what we could be. You deserve more than just making it, by the words tumbled out, thick with his longing. The car's engine growled again, breaking the silence, an unwelcome reminder of the life waiting for her outside this alley. Mark saw a single tear escape from the corner of her eye, a small but potent sign of the conflict raging inside her. I have my job, my life, it's not that easy, she said, her voice trembling, but Mark could hear the vulnerability edging in. What if you let me help you? We can face those challenges together. I've built my life around climbing ladders, gathering trophies, but what I truly want is right here. gestured between them, desperation coloring his face. What we had. What we could have again. But what will people think? She whispered, her voice barely heard. Honestly, who cares? His words held a raw honesty that resonated. Let them think what they want. I want you. I want to know you again, he said. The look in her eyes flickered hope battling against the weight of doubt. You don't know what it's like to be where I am, to struggle every day just to keep my head above water. It's not easy to just walk away from it all. He reached out, gently touching her arm. I never said it would be. But you deserve to be happy, to be loved fully, not just by the odds you face every day. If this is about risks, then let us face them together. I want to show you how different things can be. Patience, but the world around him faded. With his heart pounding, Mark could only hold on to the moment as tightly as he could. He could feel it, a shift, a rising tide of possibilities. Maybe we could try it as a new determination in her voice, one that matched his own. And as she took a breath to speak again, the sharp sound of a slamming car door resonated from the end of the alley, shattering the fragile resolve that was starting to form. Sarah. I won't wait much longer. The voice cut through their moment, forceful and loud, snapping both back to reality. What should I do? She asked, torn between duty and desire, looking at him, pleading for an answer. Follow your heart, he urged, his voice steady despite the chaos. Only you can decide. Tears brimmed in her eyes as she glanced from him to the car. Suddenly, a sense of urgency wrapped around her. This far just to lose her again. Sarah, wait. Before you decide, I need you to know there is something I haven't told you, something from the past that changes everything. Her eyes widened, confusion mingling with the strength of her earlier emotions. What do you mean? I need you to trust me, he insisted, ready to confront the specters of their past that had long haunted him. And just like that, Mark's heart raced with hope, fear, and the unknown. Would revealing the truth set them free, or would it drive them apart forever? He could only wait, anxiously, as Sarah made her choice. Mark watched Sarah's expression shift, flickering like a candle in the wind. Uncertainty tangled with curiosity, and he felt as if the air had thickened around them. He wanted to reach out and smooth away her doubts, to give her the answers she needed. Please, trust me, he urged again, his voice softened down. Boy he used to be. The truth could change everything. There was a pause that seemed to stretch on forever, the only sounds coming from a distant city overlooking the alley. Voices, laughter, the honking of horns, it all felt so far away. This moment belonged to them, wrapped in its own fragile bubble. Sarah hesitated, the weight of her decision heavy on her shoulders. What could possibly change anything? It's all too complicated. He took a breath, his heart pounding in his chest. Maybe it's complicated because we're scared to confront it. You remember how we used to talk about our dreams? Those late-night conversations, where nothing felt impossible. A small smile danced across her lips, but it quickly vanished. That was a long time ago, Mark. Things are different now. Maybe they don't have to be. He searched her eyes, seeking the spark of that past connection. What if I told you I haven't stopped thinking about you? Not once in 20 years. We may have taken different paths, but those paths led me right back here, to you. Her breath caught, and Mark could see the flicker of hope ignite within her. This was their moment, crossroads where everything could change. Yet he knew he had to tread carefully. I have something that I've kept from you all these years, he said, his voice low. When we were kids, I made a promise. A stupid promise I thought I could keep, but I was wrong. You deserve to know the truth. What promise? She said, leaning in, the tension between them palpable. I promised I'd always protect you and be there for you. But when everything fell apart, I let you go. You disappeared when you needed me most. Her eyes searched his, a storm of any excuse. He raked a hand through his hair, the guilt of his past bubbling to the surface. I didn't realize how much I'd regretted until it was too late. She stepped back, as if his words had struck her. You should have told me sooner. You should have trusted me enough to share the truth. Now, I don't know if I can. Panic fluttered in Mark's chest. I know it won't be easy. I don't expect you to forgive me right away. But please, can we start fresh? Right here, right now. Let us face the past together. The car engine roared again, a jarring reminder of the life waiting for her outside this embrace. Sarah's eyes filled with tears as she faced the crossroads of her own heart. Mark, I don't know what to do. The past haunts me, too. He grabbed her hands, feeling the warmth of her palms against his. Then let us confront it together. If you don't want to run away, I promise I'll be there every step of the way. We'll face the ghosts of our past, whether they want to haunt us or not. The air felt charged with possibility. Could they really rebuild what was lost? Would their love be enough to brave the life that awaited them? And then, the sound of the slamming car door echoed again, louder this time, breaking through the fragile intimacy that lingered. Sarah. The call was urgent, cold. Get in the car. We're leaving. Torn between two worlds, Mark watched the storm in her eyes intensify. He felt the weight of choices hit heavy not just on her, but on both. Mark, she whispered, panicked there, uncertainty clouding her features. He took a deep breath, knowing he had to say, whatever you choose, I'll be here. Just know that you're not alone anymore. As she turned, the echoes of their shared past lingered, possibility swirling in the air. What awaited her on the other side of that car door? Would she choose the safe path or risk it all for a chance at love? The moment stretched, a fragile thread between them. And as Sarah hesitated, he knew that her choice would tip the balance. Would it be forward into the unknown or retreat into the comfort of the familiar? Mark's heart raced as he watched Sarah's internal battle unfold. She stood there, poised between past and future, and he felt the weight of every moment they had lost pressing down on him like lead. The distant car engine was a reminder of her responsibilities, of the life waiting on the other side of that alley. But here, right now, everything felt possible. Please, Sarah, he said again, the urgency threading through his voice. If you walk away now, you may never forgive yourself. You have to decide if you want to try. With us. She blinked, tears glistening in her eyes, and for a second, it seemed as if the world around them faded away. The laughter and noise were already a distant memory, leaving only the two of them past and future colliding in a fragile moment. Mark, I'm scared. Her voice trembled, cracking under the weight of her fears. What if we can't fix it? What if we just hurt each other more? He took a step forward, closing the space between them, holding her gaze with intensity. What if we do fix it? What if we rediscover who we are? Together. We owe ourselves that chance. She hesitated. Mark could see her walls starting to crumble, and his pulse quickened. But then, from behind, the voice rang out again, harsher this time, cutting through their tender moment. Sarah. Get in the car now. The impatience laced in the command was undeniable. Mark felt a wave of frustration. Who was this person to tear at their fragile reunion, demanding her back into a life she was clearly conflicted about? Nevertheless, he knew pressing too much wouldn't help. It would only push her further away. Listen, he whispered, moving closer, his voice barely breaking the charged silence. I'll wait for you, no matter how long it takes. Just remember what we have. It's still there. As her eyes welled, he took a mental note of every little detail, the way her heart seemed to pulse with a mix of love and fear, the intensity of her gaze, even the faint sound of laughter that lingered between them. Tom Francis trembled, yet the world outside demanded its due. Another slamming door echoed in the air, this time closer. The figure of a man moving in the shadows, muscles clenching, brow furrowed. Mark's heart sank further. It felt like the stakes were rising, and Sarah was caught in the middle of a tug-of-war. "Sarah," the man barked again, stepping closer, "I need it. We can't keep waiting around. We're up against the clock." Sarah flinched at the harshness, pulling back slightly just enough to break the connection. I have to go," she stuttered, her voice barely audible above the noise outside. Mark felt a painful twist in his stomach. It was the moment he feared. "Sarah, don't choose fear." With a mighty effort, she looked back. There it was again, that flicker of hope in her eyes. But what if fear is all I know? A moment of realization washed over him. "Then let me show you something different. You deserve more than fear, Sarah. You deserve joy, love, and a future." But there was uncertainty in her expression. The man's impatient foot tapping against the asphalt clawed at the edges of her resolve. I'll think about it," she said, stepping back, pulling away from his grasp. "I'll find you. Promise?" Mark urged, his voice thick with desperation. He needed her to understand that he wouldn't give up. "Yes. I promise," she whispered, the words slipping from her lips like a prayer. As Sarah turned toward the car, the warmth of her moment began to recede, and all he could do was watch her walk away. That painful tugging feeling in his chest deepened, as he realized he would have to endure the waiting. But he clung to him with a promise, and then, just as he thought she was lost to him once more, the thought struck him like a bolt from the blue. What if she needed help to face the world waiting for her? What if that help was the key to unlocking their shared future? The idea began to swirl in his mind, fervently igniting the possibilities. Could he take the leap and turn to the past not as a weight but as a guide? "Sarah," he called out, a sense of urgency mounting. "What if I met you where you are? Right in the middle of the day?" As she paused, glancing back, Mark felt the weight of their unfinished story hanging in the balance. Would they be able to navigate their ghosts and unravel the truth together? It felt like everything had led to this moment, a chance to redefine who they were, but in that fragile second of hope, the uncertainty still loomed. Would they both take the plunge into the unknown of their intertwined destinies? Mark's heart pounded in his chest. He watched as Sarah turned back toward the car, feeling every step she took away from him like a physical blow. The man waiting for her had an air of finality, and Mark could sense time slipping through his fingers. "Wait," he called again. "I want to help you." His voice seemed to echo in the otherwise quiet alley, a desperate cry wrapped in the din of the world around her. Sarah hesitated, her body still. The way her shoulders drooped just a bit told him everything, that her burden felt too heavy to carry alone. But then the moment shifted, shadows dancing across her face as the man moved closer, his impatience tangible. Mark's stomach nodded. "Look," he said quickly, his words coming out in a rush, "we're both dealing with so much. I know you're scared. I am too. But what if we could face it together? Whatever it is, I want to be there for you." She flipped her gaze back to the man, then to Mark, as if weighing her choices on a delicate scale. "Mark, you don't understand," she started, words tumbling out like a desperate plea. "Then let me understand. Tell me what you need. Don't shut me out. Not after all this time." Tears threatened to spill from her eyes, and it nearly shattered him. Why did it feel like every moment was a war with time? Every second pulled them further apart, but every second was also a chance. "Can you just hold on?" she whispered, emotions dancing behind her eyes. "Can you give me just a little more?" "Always," he said with resolute softness, stepping closer again. "I'll wait as long as it takes. I promise." Sarah searched his face, her mind clearly racing, but the urgency of the situation clawed at them both. He could feel the pressure mounting not just from the man behind her, but from the weight of unspoken history and shared scars. Then, without warning, her expression shifted. A spark of clarity flickered in her eyes. "Maybe," she murmured, more to herself than to him. Maybe if you're there, I can take that step. Just maybe. Mark nodded, the tiniest glimmer of hope igniting in his chest. Then let's find a way. We can figure this out together. You don't have to face it alone. But as Sarah moved closer again, caught between her desires and fears, the man's voice cut through them like a razor. This is not a game, Sarah. Get in the car. This isn't the place for you. The tension sent a spike of adrenaline coursing through Mark. He locked eyes with Sarah, feeling the weight of the decision radiating between them. Please, just trust me for once, he urged, every word cooling with vulnerability. Don't let him walk you back into a life that suffers. But the man's aggressive stance forced her gaze to shift, and when Sarah turned her head back to see him, Mark felt the space between them stretching once more. It was a gap filled with everything left unsaid, every regret, every what if. Sarah, he whispered, frustration bubbling beneath the surface. You can't keep pretending. Not anymore. What if I fall? She asked, panic lacing her voice. What if it hurts? Then I'll catch you, he promised, desperate to reach her. I swear I will. She took a shady breath, secretly suspended in indecision. Every moment away from you is a moment wasted, he declared, his feelings thrilling. You deserve better, Sarah. You deserve to be happy. Finally, with uncertainty hanging thick in the air, Sarah took a step back toward him, her hand reaching out. But then the man took another step forward, blocking her. This is your last warning, Sarah. Make a choice, and make it now. Mark clenched his jaw as the despair intensified. Every instinct told him to push through, to hold on, but he felt time slipping away, threatening to seal their fates. They were on the edge, but could they live together? Trust your heart. He shouted, his voice echoing in the alley. For a brief moment, it felt like everything hung in the balance. Which one? She whispered, uncertainty crumpling her features. Then she turned back toward the car, leaving him rooted to the spot. Mark watched as the connection faltered. Every second a heartbeat. Would this moment slip through her fingers forever, or would she find the courage to do what she feared the most? As her figure receded, Mark felt a swell of determination. This wasn't over yet, not by a long shot. What if he took those first steps into the world, ready to fight for her? What if it was now or never? Mark felt the fire igniting within him, urging him to act. He couldn't stand by and let Sarah walk away not again. It was as if gravity was pulling him toward her, every fiber of his being pushing against the storm brewing between them. He took a deep breath, feeling the cool air seep into his lungs, igniting a new sense of purpose. Sarah. He called again, the name escaping his lips like a flea that had promised all at once. This time, his feet were moving before his mind could catch up. He took a few steps forward, closing the distance between them. He could see her indecision, those anxious eyes darting between him and the man who held her in some kind of invisible grip. Please, he said, his voice softer now, almost pleading. I know this is hard. But I have never stopped believing in you, in us. Don't let him take away your choice. The man's face turned to him, a mixture of anger and derision. Stay out of this, kid. You don't know what you're getting into. But I do. Mark retorted, anger bubbling to the surface. I've watched Sarah fight so hard her entire life. She deserves to chase her dreams, not run from them. You're making this decision for her, and it's wrong. Let us go, Sarah. The man hissed, like a snake ready to strike. Marquez Marquez. He had to dig deeper, to make her see that she wasn't here alone. If you walk away now, how will you ever make it bit, Sarah? Take a chance. He met her gaze again, and he saw something shift, just a glimmer of hope in those beautiful eyes, mixed with fear. For a brief moment, it felt like the world fell away. It was just the two of them, and Mark could feel the weight of their past and present pushing down on them, yearning for a future together. Mark, she whispered, Mark realized he had thrown down a challenge that echoed his own heart escalated. The man took a step closer, and Mark's stomach tightened. Couldn't he let this happen again? You don't own her. She asked without possession to drive away. Get out of my way, the man snarled, but Mark stood firm, his resolve unyielding. The tension escalated, charging the atmosphere with electricity. Sarah's eyes darted between them, a whirlwind of emotion playing on her face. Mark felt her energy shift, frustration colliding with longing, and he held on to that moment, hoping against hope that she would break free. Mark eyed before she could finish, the man moved again, invading their moment. But Sarah, perhaps fed up with being placed in so many boxes, pushed past it, stepping closer to Mark. I don't know. What do I do? I need help. Mark's heart raced as he saw the resolve building in her. You trust your heart, Sarah. You listen to what you want, not what he wants. You deserve this. Just take my hand. Her breathing hitched as she stood on the precipice of a raw decision, her bravery igniting and sparkling. Just before she reached for him, the man sneered. If you choose him, you'll regret it when you give him what you can. Maybe you're wrong, Mark said, drawing nearer. Maybe she'll find more in the unknown than in a gilded cage. For a moment, the world faded, their air thick with the tension of the choice looming before them. Would she step into the light, or back into the dark? Could love triumph over fear? As Sarah stood there, her eyes shimmering with determination and uncertainty, Mark reached out, every heartbeat echoing an unspoken vow. But just then, the sound of tires screeching echoed down the avenue. Mark turned, feeling an unsettling chill. A dark sedan had pulled out of the entrance, stark against the fading light. Sarah, he whispered, alarm flooding his senses. And as she hesitated, caught between two worlds, Mark braced himself for whatever came next. Would she step forward and choose freedom, or run back into the safety of the known, despite the cost? The air crackled with impending change, and in that moment, everything felt poised on the edge of something monumental. As the engine of the sedan roared, its headlights spilled like liquid fire onto Mark and Sarah, illuminating their charged moment. Mark's heart raced as he glanced back at the driver, an imposing figure that seemed to tighten the invisible noose around Sarah's decision. She exhaled sharply, her breath caught in a web of emotions. Sarah, please. Mark urged, desperation coating his voice. Don't let fear dictate your choices. In his chest, hope and terror roared fiercely. He was so close, yet the light in the car felt like a wall pushing him away. Get in the car, Sarah. The man barked, his tone flat and uncompromising. You don't need to deal with this nonsense. That voice was like ice water, freezing her indecision. Mark saw her eyes dart between him and the car, the weight of the world crushing softly around them. Each moment dragged like the tick of a clock, and he knew he needed to act. Sarah, he said gently, reaching for her hands, not backing down. You have every right to choose your own path. Your happiness matters most. The flicker of doubt in her gaze shifted for an instant, and he saw something fleeting within her. Mark, I don't. She faltered, her voice trembled, the fear evident on her face. She felt trapped, as if the walls of her life were closing in. You don't have to choose between us and your responsibilities. Let me help you carry it. We can turn this around. Mark's heart surged. He wanted her to see that they could redefine what normal looked like together. You don't have to fight this lone battle. I see you. I value you. The crowd of emotions swirling in her expression shifted again, uncertainty battling against something deeper, raw. Mark. Her voice broke, the words tumbling out like leaves caught in a whirlwind. Don't let anyone make that choice for you, he reiterated with a firm gentleness, grounding her. This is your moment. Please don't walk away. And then, as if ignited by a spark within, she seemed to find her strength. As the man in the car shouted at her again, she took a deep breath, her chest rising with newfound You are stronger than you think. Together, we can create a new path. Trust me. With her hands shaking slightly, she took a step forward, her brows knitting together with resolve. But if I choose you, everything changes. He replied, a smile breaking through the tension. That's exactly the point. Let us find out what it looks like together. The car engine revved impatiently. The figure inside glanced at the rearview mirror, irritation brewing like storm clouds. Get in, Sarah. Now. He shouted again, but Mark focused on him. As the figure slowly moved toward his, time seemed to stand still. Would she take the leap? And in that moment, Sarah's gaze locked onto his. The chaos of the moment faded out, the world dissolving around them. Then, with a new strength, she grasped his hand. Okay, let us do this. Mark felt an overwhelming warmth flood through him. It was the warmth of shared dreams and promises unspoken. For the first time in years, as they stood hand in hand, he sensed a partnership forming, one beyond their past, filled with hope and possibility. The man's patience snapped, issuing one final threat, but it barely registered as Mark wrapped both his hands around Sarah's, grounding her. Let us go, Mark said softly, reassured by the warmth pulsing from her grasp. We'll face it all together. Glimmers of hope sparkled in her eyes as they moved side by side. With every step away from the car, Mark felt them unshackling from the past and stepping boldly into a future uncharted, one neither of them could have imagined alone. As they moved forward, he promised himself that he'd stand by her, to fight for her dreams, for her aspirations. No matter the distance that had separated them, they were now forging a new path together. In that first stride into their soon-to-be shared life, each footfall resonated with the kind of joy that only comes from second chances. With hope lighting the darkened streets around them, there was no turning back. What lay ahead was a testament to their resilience, a chance to write their story anew. As the night sky twinkled above like a canvas of endless possibilities, Mark squeezed her hand gently. Behind them, the past slipped away, but ahead, adventures awaited, and that moment, standing on the cusp of the future, they both knew they had the power to nurture the love that would bind them like nothing else. Their hearts beat in unison, and the declaration that the gap was exactly where they were meant to be. You feel the energy of that transformation. Join our journey. Subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss out on the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to keep the algorithm fed and thriving. Don't forget to comment your thoughts on this ending and how it touched you. And share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this powerful transformation. This is the moment to show your support. Don't wait not even one more second to share. Only true fans understand